fall out, all of all bow wow, call tall pow, south side, outside, pow out like missile thought, fire bounce, higher powers out now. I was outside, now my power pow now. Eyes wide, should've speak utterly upside down, camera obscura, power down scuba, mama in Cuba, my it sounds good now. Out and about, title bout, bow, how loud, high lie, Mutai, Aztec, forearm, Nasdaq, abstract, vacuum rockin' chow down, hazmat to do so diametrically outbound. Matter of fact, pass that ginger pop in the cooler than the medulla of Rick the ruler. Hula hooping with new bow downs from Nuba. That's that life of a king, got my crown now, feeling accomplished. Super looper fresh chocolate, collectible conscious, young crunk in your town now. Via minor aircraft, snapping like a bear trap. Tijuana Air Max, chainmail gauntlet. Big Bertha earthquakes, 100 dB, 90 BPM, heavy hitting them triplets, 100-sided dice, rolling 79 twice. Get ready, we bringing the jazz back with the rhythm, we giving them influence on some Midwest liquid mission, tricky nicks and mixing, matching, scratching, rapping, action, Jackson making it happen, pap it, midi, patch it, map it with a pinch of magic, casting master sentences, with a gang of wicked vixens listening close to us, flipping different widgets, mystic digits, coast to coast, pole to pole, folding time, golden time. Overload on.
Atlanta rapper Young Thug is getting ready to go before a judge this morning after he was arrested following an 88-page indictment. Right now, he is sitting in the Fulton County Jail.
He is facing allegations tied to Young Slime Life. It's a gang that authorities say that he founded. 11 Live's Ariana Maniz is live in front of the Fulton County Jail with the new development. So Ariana, Gunna is also included in this.
That's correct, Cheryl. Our team reached out to Fulton County officials where we learned that Gunna is not in custody, but rapper Young Thug, he is in custody in the Fulton County Jail behind me after he was arrested on Monday. Now, Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams, he is facing 2 charges, which includes charges of conspiracy to violate the racketeering criminal law and criminal street gang activity. Now, both charges, they're tied to an 88-page indictment where 27 other people were named. Now, in that same indictment, officials tie the individuals to the street gang Young Slime Life, where rapper Young Thug is listed as a founder, which started out on Cleveland Avenue in Southwest Atlanta with affiliation with the Blood Gang. Now, rapper Gunna, whose real name is Sergio Kitchens, is also listed in this indictment. He's facing similar charges and is also listed as an associate of this gang. Now, officials, they use evidence from his social media postings as well as from his own music videos to tie him to Young Slime Life. Now, for rapper Young Thug, he's expected to make his first court appearance this morning at 11 a.m. Back to you.
All right, Ariana, thank you. So we have been combing through the 88-page indictment all morning, and it gets deep. The case doesn't just stop there with Young Thug and Gunna. It also involves rapper YSL Lucci, whose legal name is Rayshawn Bennett. Lucci is currently serving time in the Fulton County Jail, too. We've been following his charges for months now. So this new indictment says members of YSL tried to stab and kill Lucci with a shank while behind bars. Lucci has been in jail since April of 2021 for violating his probation in a murder case. Another name you might recognize here, this man, Christian Eppinger. He is also named in that indictment several times as a YSL member. We've reported on him before. APD says he shot an officer 6 times earlier this year. The officer survived, but Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis is pushing for Eppinger to get life behind bars due to his lengthy criminal history. So this is a story with so many layers, and we are not going to stop until we get to the very bottom of it and see this case through. As we get those new developments, we'll be sure to bring them to you. In the meantime, you can always head to 11alive.com.
Charges that he's facing.
Yeah, the RICO Act, the racketeering, is basically a group of people that work together, conspire together to form a criminal enterprise. And it got to be multiple people, and they've got to be doing multiple different things to make a racketeering charge. And this particular racketeering charge, according to the Fulton County prosecutor, was vast. In fact, they listed 180 plus different acts that they allege that Young Young Thug and his other co-defendants were taking part in, all part of the YSL, or Young Slime Life group that he has accused of being part of. You're looking at Young Thug's mugshot. The Fulton County District Attorney claims the rapper, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams Jr., is part of a gang that used violence, drugs, and even murder to make money. Williams is one of 28 suspected members of the Young Slime Life charged with racketeering. He also faces criminal street gang charges. The 88-page, 56-count indictment lists more than 180 acts YSL members allegedly committed going back to January 2013. Williams' name comes up 35 times, including allegedly renting a car that was used in a murder, making terroristic threats while being kicked out of Perimeter Mall, receiving stolen guns, possession with intent to distribute meth, hydrocodone, and marijuana when he was arrested by Brookhaven police, and being part of a traffic stop in which police found numerous weapons, including an AK-47 with a 30-round magazine. The indictment claims Williams used his music, videos, and social media posts to spread YSL's power and territory. According to the indictment, YSL started in 2012 in the Cleveland Avenue area of southeast Atlanta, but has spread since then. YSL is accused of being affiliated with the Bloods gang. The indictment says its members identify themselves by using hand signals, tattoos, and clothing with YSL or slime written on them, and often wear red for Bloods, green for slime. A Young Thug is being held here at the Fulton County Jail, expected to make his first court appearance later on this morning. And while he is certainly the highest profile person who has been indicted in this, he's not the only local rapper who's been caught up. Another rapper by the name of Gunna, whose actual name is Sergio Kitrix, has also been charged with this as well. He is only facing the racketeering counts, not any of the other ones. As we mentioned, Young Thug facing both racketeering and those criminal gang activities.
Yeah, interesting to note that he was not the only high-profile rapper, Mark. Do we know if Gunna is also going to be indicted today?
Yeah, we're not sure if Gunna is going to actually be appearing in court. Part of that is because, at least during the overnight hours, the folks here at the Fulton County Jail said he hadn't been officially booked into the facility. So it's quite possible that he was in the process of being booked in, or it's quite possible if he was booked in, it might be too late for him to get on the calendar for this morning's court hearing. So we'll have to wait on that to see how it all plays out.
All right, well, Mark, definitely a lot of information, a lot of details to break down from those court documents. So we really appreciate you getting our viewers up to speed here on Live Now from Fox. We'll be in touch with your team about those court appearances. You have a good day.
We have a development in a big story playing out in Atlanta today. We just learned minutes ago Atlanta rapper Young Thug will not make an appearance today in court after all. He had appeared to be on the docket for 11 o'clock this morning. His case has been assigned now to Superior Court. He was arrested yesterday at his home in Buckhead. We've been combing through an 88-page indictment throughout the morning, and this is what we found so far. Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams, is facing charges of conspiracy to violate the racketeering criminal law and criminal street gang activity tied to a larger indictment. Police say he, along with 27 others, have been named in that long report alleging they have ties to the street gang Young Slime Life. Young Thug is cited as a founder of the gang, which claims affiliation with the Bloods. It started out on Cleveland Avenue in southwest Atlanta. Atlanta rapper Gunna, whose given name is Sergio Kitchens, is also listed in this indictment. Gunna's facing similar charges and is listed as an associate of the Young Slime Life gang. The indictment ties Gunna to the gang, citing his very own music videos and social media as evidence. We've been combing through this report line by line. The case doesn't just stop there with Young Thug and Gunna. It also involves rapper YFN Lucci, whose legal name is Rayshawn Bennett. Lucci is currently in the Fulton County Jail serving time. We've been following his charges now for months. This new indictment says members of the YSL tried to stab and kill him with a shank while he was in jail. Lucci has been in jail since April of 2021 for violating his probation in a murder case. Another name you may recognize in all of this is Christian Eppinger. He's also named in this indictment as a YSL member. We've reported on him. APD says he shot an officer 6 times earlier this year. The officer survived. But Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis is pushing for Eppinger to get life behind bars because of his long criminal history. So this is a story with a lot of implications and a lot of layers. So as we get new developments, we'll bring them to you on 11 Alive.
All right, so boom. This is DJ Ray down at TTM Academy. We're starting up another lecture. So right here, we're outside of the Fulton County Jail where, Young Thug has just been arrested, and he's having his first hearing this morning. I believe the hearing started at 11 o'clock. Yeah, so, I've had 3 cousins die in the past couple years. I had one cousin that was a blood gang that was taken out by another blood gang. All these blood on blood, killings, and, Nipsey Hussle, blood on blood killing. You know what I'm saying? It's too much. The violence in Atlanta is too much, and it's really great that the police force is being able to crack down on Young Thug. I was actually just predicting all this on my past lectures. I've been talking about how there needs to be an expansive RICO charge that gets all the blood gang rappers. You know what I'm saying? There should be no organized crime in rap and entertainment and stuff like that. And so it's basically a big giant elephant in the room. So yeah, I have one cousin that was a blood that got killed by his blood friend. He was like, it was the day after his birthday on Instagram. He was like flossing maybe $100 or something, and his homie killed him YNW Melly style, in the car. And then my other cousin got killed similar YNW Melly style by a guy he knew, shot him in the back of the head, thought he could get away with it. And I don't know what gang he was in, but I'm sure he was probably in a gang. But, they knew each other as kids, you know what I'm saying, growing up. So it's just like there's a lot of mental illness going on, and the radio stations are, exacerbating it. It's, they're adding fuel to the flames, so it's, this is a start. What's happening right now with Young Thug being arrested, this is just the beginning. This can be expanded into the radio and stopping gang violence, across the country, because the radio stations and YouTube, and they got the real guns in the videos, and they're really gangs, and they're real international and federal statewide gangs. So this RICO charge for Young Thug today is I believe a statewide RICO charge, not a federal RICO charge. But in my opinion, having 3 cousins that just passed away, all young people, and one just found in the river. We're about to do a GoFundMe for my cousin Marcus, but it's just too much, what I'm saying? I've just been doing lectures on, the fact that my wife and I are raising a child here in Atlanta, and it's just, ratchet kind of culture, gang culture, all this culture is everywhere, and it's just too much. And they're just, cars are getting jacked. My niece-in-law, her and her fiance, that both of their cars got jacked at the same time in Buckhead, and they arrested Young Thug in Buckhead. You know what I'm saying? Buckhead, was traditionally a Caucasian neighborhood, and now Buckhead's becoming more and more black. There's actually a lot of white flight happening in Buckhead because a lot of the rap entertainment people are all kind of moving to Buckhead, right? And so Young Thug was arrested yesterday in Buckhead. And, the news isn't even talking, piecing together the fact that his baby's mother was just murdered in a gang battle. So all this gang stuff is just too much at the Atlanta Fun Center. My last lecture, there was a car explosion at the Atlanta Fun Center, and, me and my wife were just randomly there. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like this stuff is just happening everywhere. We got a little baby, and we're seeing car explosions at the same exact place where Young Thug's baby's mother was murdered by a YFN blood, and she's a YSL blood. So for those that don't know, Young Thug and about 27 or 28, whether you're going to include Gunna, other rappers were all just arrested And I think it's a very, very good thing, because it's not that they're rappers, they're an organized crime syndicate. You know what I'm saying? They started as an organized crime syndicate on Cleveland Avenue. You can go to Trap Lord Ross if you want to know more about the YFN, versus YSL Young Slime life. You know what I'm saying? Those two factions have been, battling each other, and Young Thug's baby's mother just got murdered, and they never mentioned the blood gang beef within it. So maybe they were building up this whole sting, and they didn't want the news to talk about the fact that it wasn't just a bowling ball, because the news in Atlanta has been reporting, oh, there was a fight over a bowling ball and a crazy guy killed a woman over a bowling ball. No, she was repping her set. They were repping their sets. They were repping, it was a part of this feud, that the reason why Young Thug's in jail right now, because his crew, the YSL, the Young Slime Life, they've been having a gang war with the YFN Bloods. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just saying, my cousin was just murdered. It's too much. You know what I'm saying? Nobody that's rational wants to hear that on the radio all day. We turn on hot, 103.3, 107.9 all day. It's just murder, Dracos, AKs. You know what I'm saying? The kids are learning. In the 90s, I used to think like, oh yeah, it's up to the parents, that whole type of thing. But it's like, nah, it's not even. That's not even right, because it really is affecting the communities. The violence really is going up. You know what I'm saying? In certain areas, but in the black community, things are just getting more heinous. And these labels are signing these people. The labels are signing it. They're signing all blood gang monopoly. So Cardi B and Nicki need to be in this same RICO sting. To me, you know what I'm saying? Nobody believes a dark-skinned sister named Tasha K saying that the Bloods were, Cardi B was threatening her with her blood syndicate, and they are all part of the same syndicate. So whether it's 21 Savage, all the Bloods, they all need to be taken in this same type of a sting. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be a nationwide, thing to, it'll save hip hop music, because right now hip hop is a blood gang monopoly. It's like, Pop Smoke, they let him come out, after his death. You know what I'm saying? Just like, XXXTentacion, all that type of stuff. It's just so much death going on. It's almost, I remember my homie H Prism was saying that, when did it become a prerequisite to have, some crazy criminal record to be a rapper? And that's what it's become now. And these labels are signing murderers, just like here in Atlanta, they shot up the Varsity. Lil Durk and King Von shot up the Varsity. And, it's like they play Lil Durk on the radio every single day. So, we don't play that here in Atlanta. The real Atlanta people that, are about peace and positivity. You know what I'm saying? All this gang stuff is being pushed on the kids, you know what I'm saying, through a school to prison pipeline, a $1 trillion, you know what I'm saying, school to prison pipeline, industrial complex that, almost probably most of the people in the jail here, even if it's, I don't even know if Nature Boy's here, but all the people in the jail here, I was just predicting Nature Boy in my Rashad Jamal lecture, where, Rashad Jamal Stan was threatened to attack me. Gangster Hoteps, it's just too much violence in Atlanta. So Gangster Hoteps, Bloods, Crips, you know what I'm saying? I was just predicting Nature Boy, getting nabbed and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, slapping sisters and making them fight each other, all that type of stuff, that's permitted, while people like TC Islam get murdered. You know what I'm saying? People like all these positive people get murdered. You know what I'm saying? And peace to Netic, all these young brothers, getting slain and stuff like that. So it's like having 3 cousins slain. I've been first I was talking moratorium stuff, but then I really researched moratorium, and that's just a temporary thing. It's like, nah, we don't need moratoriums on gang violence and all that type of stuff. Truces, we need the same thing that they did with the Italian mob, who was, running racketeering and all types of stuff within construction and all that stuff. They ended it. You know what I'm saying? The feds came down and they stopped all the gang mafia, the Italian mafia activity within, a lot of different industries. So they can do the same thing here. You know what I'm saying? In the United States, we could, have an actual sting that bans all gang activity from YouTube, from the radio, You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if real people are dying and real people are getting trafficked and extorted, you know, it's like if you see those pictures of slavery in Libya and stuff like that, it's like, boom, you know, whoever's doing that, you know, those people should be investigated. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, Jay-Z and Meek Mill were trying to, you know, get a law change to where, you know, where people can't snitch on themselves on records. But if people are crazy enough and mentally ill enough to, you know, snitch on themselves on records, then, you know, they need to go to jail. And Young Thug needs to be in jail right now. He is a danger to the community. They're spreading, you know, violence in our communities. You know what I'm saying? You know, to where it's like, you know, my family, we were just talking right before, the day before this happened, we were just talking to a police officer about, you know, gun training and self-defense, because it's crazy out here in Atlanta. You know, everybody's strapped out here, and I'm not strapped. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, the peace people have to worry about all this stuff. Then we turn on the radio, and it's literally, you know, $1 trillion industries, the big four, you know, right? Brofman and the other three, right? The big four. They're just signing black people that have murdered people and stuff like that. It's just totally out of control. And so this sting is a victory. This is a big victory. You know, you know, as I was saying, I've been an advocate for, you know, ending the gang, not just the gang violence in rap, because everybody's just like, hey, let's stop the violence. Nobody's saying let's ban them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, they can make their mixtapes and drop on SoundCloud or whatever. Things could be ringing off in different places, but, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, disseminated to the kids. Make sure this is recording. Yeah, it's still recording. Dope. But yeah, every day, you know, if you can turn on the radio right now in the middle of the day, you know, hear Young Dirk talking about, you know, shooters and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and so that's what was happening right here. Is Young Thug, they really had shooters. So Young Thug apparently, you know, there's an 88-page document. You can see the 88-page document of the, you know, of the police raid, with naming all the about 30 people that they nabbed, 30 to 29. I don't believe Gunna's been apprehended yet, but, you know, he could be apprehended soon. You know, because they're all a part of it. And the way that RICO charges work, you know, from you know, we're teaching law at TTM Academy. The way the legal thing works is that with RICO charges, everybody gets charged equally until people start snitching at each other and they can get reduced time, like what happened with, you know, Tekashi 6ix9ine. But, you know, you see Tekashi 6ix9ine, he got out, you know, in a couple of years. He had already served a bunch of time. They let him out early with COVID and stuff like that. And then everybody else was black, and they all, you know, they're all doing a lot of time, you know. But, you know, I feel that, you know, he has to pay $1 million in restitution right now, 6ix9ine, for one of his robberies, and the fact that he's a blood, and, you know, Young Thug's a blood, Cardi B's a blood, Nicki's a blood, 21 Savage is a blood, all the rappers, the whole radio station is all blood. You know, it has to end. You know what I'm saying? They have to be banned. Cardi B needs to be banned. Nicki Minaj needs to be banned. Anybody that's literally, you know, wearing the colors and talking about it on the stuff and talking about it outside to the press. You know, Nicki Minaj married a blood gang member. You know what I'm saying? And she's became a blood. But a lot of people don't talk about the fact that Cardi B's name is Cardi Brim, and it's from her Brim gang set. So this is the Slime gang set that just got raided. But Cardi B's set is the Brim gang, and they got their own RICO sting too. But see, it's all these little small RICO stings. It needs to be all organized and come all together to where, you know, all the Bloods, all the BDs and Chicago gangs and all that stuff needs to be taken away from the music industry and the entertainment industry, or just any industry in general. You know what I'm saying? And that's what RICO charges are for, is the racketeering of, you know, mafias. And that's what's happened. Mafias are running hip hop, and the radio stations are complicit with the mafia stuff. You know, the radio stations in Atlanta are run by not run by black people. The people that are owners are not black people. They're, you know, and we'll talk about that in other lectures. But at the United Turntablists Guild, you know, we've been pushing for you know, the elimination of gang activity on the radio and YouTube and all that stuff. Because you see, they deleted, you know, we had another victory a couple months ago. They deleted NBA Youngboy's YouTube page because, you know, they're got real guns. He's getting real gun charges. throwing his girlfriend down the stairs on video, you know what I'm saying? And you see, they're signing, mentally ill, violent people, you know what I'm saying? And that needs to stop too. It's like the RICO charges need to be extended into the big four record labels, you know what I'm saying? Because these record labels are giving these gangsters money, knowing that they're gangsters, because they're saying it on the records. So it's like, they should be complicit too. They need to be, also, connected within these things, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, for those that are just coming in, we just had a victory as far as, people looking to stop the gang stuff in hip hop, and that whole entertainment industry in general, you know what I'm saying? The Bloods, Crips, Scientologists, the last so-called truce was at the last so-called truce was at the truce. The last so-called Crip Blood truce was at the Church of Scientology with The Game. You can just look that up. You type The Game, a bunch of other people were there, I believe. Maybe like Will.i.am was there too. Yeah, so it's like Young Thug, now in this part of the lecture, we're going to be talking about the grooming. So, so the school to prison pipeline is clear, but when you have groups like Young Slime Gang, you got to remember, or Young Slime Life, that's what their name, like Thug Life, but it's Young Slime Life, Blood sect, there's these different sects of Bloods, so the Bloods are a historical, internationally known mafia, and, they have, these new rappers and the radio stations are actually, telling the kids like, hey, join this gang, and the kids are making their own little sets, and everybody usually uses 3 letters now, like YMW Melly, or that's their sets, and I'm not sure if he's a Blood or a Crip, but I'm pretty sure Melly, they're all Bloods. It's, Bloods are like, like PC users or something, the majority of the market, as far as the rap game, and it's just a travesty that the radio stations across the country are not banning it yet, but we can get an injunction on that, an injunction on, as far as law jargon, an injunction is when you can put a stop to something, and whether it's the governor or courts or whoever, need to do it, it could happen, or whether it's the Senate or, whether it's a bill they come up with, there can be definitely be a day when the radio station is free of all gang activity. You know what I'm saying? Because right now it's just it's a monopoly, and and people are talking about, he's a Grammy artist. He's a Grammy nominated artist. He was always repping the Young Slime Life, Bloods, and they signed him knowing that. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like the baby. He murdered the guy right before his official signing. You know what I'm saying? It was like a week before, and they're like, oh yeah, you just murdered someone. Okay, whatever. We're gonna sign you. There should be like, there could be a rule that, it's like I was saying with the Little Durk thing, it's like him and King Von shot up the Varsity, and that makes total no sense. You know what I'm saying? That they play his songs on the radio. You don't go to, you don't hear El Chapo on the radio, but we hear Young Thug on the radio, and Young Thug's taken down just like an El Chapo. You know what I'm saying? He actually paid for a rental car for one of his people to kill somebody. Not even including like I was saying, Lakeivia Jackson, his baby's mother, just got murdered from his own gang war. The YFN Bloods versus the YSL Bloods. You know what I'm saying? But the news was covering that up. So it's just too much in Atlanta right now. All these gang wars, but they're all getting locked up, and I think that's a good thing. Just like El Chapo's locked up in downtown Brooklyn, like a little bit like Park Slope is where that building is over there. A little bit past Park Slope, you know what I'm saying, one of those avenues, 5th Avenue or something. But El Chapo's, was terrorizing the lives of people. Mexico's still unsafe with all the gangs. In Mexico, the gangs are higher than the press and the police. But in America, our police are stronger than the gangs, and that's what we need more of. We need to totally stop the gang stuff, because the little kids are getting inspired by it. They think it's like normal. They've normalized. They've normalized destructive behaviors through free market, corporation, school to prison pipeline, economics. So just like how we did lectures before on how Hasbro had owned Death Row Records before Snoop bought it, they were getting called out by lecturers talking about the fact that, hey, you guys are a children's toy company, Hasbro, and you're having a black man on a Death Row Records, which the logo is a a black man in an electric chair, you know, and it's a gangster rap label. So, you know, for everybody that's just coming in, I'm here at the jail. This is the Fulton County Jail. We're live, you know what I'm saying, live at the Fulton County Fulton Jail on Rice Street, and this is where Young Thug's having his hearing right now. You know, and he's gotten 2 counts in the RICO charges, but, you know, obviously all that can be expanded. And, you know, there's a lot of people involved in this case. 30 people are getting RICO charges, and I'm saying it needs to expand. You know, I was just on Paperboy Prince's show. Shout out to Paperboy Prince. I was on his podcast, and I'm gonna see if he'll let me drop his podcast on TTM Academy. But, you know, I was just at his podcast, and I was just talking about this. You know, we were just talking about Eric Adams, you know, trying to ban the drill music, but you don't ban the music because there's positive drill music. You know what I'm saying? I'm a drill producer, but I'm positive, you know what I'm saying? I make positive music, you know? So it's like you can have positive drill. It's the gangs that they need to go after, not the music. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like Eric Adams is almost tweaking it to like a whole 1950s type of thing where it's like, oh, let's attack the music. But it's not about the trap music. There's nothing wrong with trap patterns and the music and the sound of what everybody's doing. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, but it doesn't have to be monopolized by gangsters. You know what I'm saying? And now young kids think that if they want to get into the industry, they got to join a gang to be able to. And it's right. It really is a prerequisite to be a blood to have success in the industry. That, you know, like I was saying with Pop Smoke, being a Crip minority, you know, they killed him, and it was just posthumously released. You know what I'm saying? Just like how that's the whole thing now. They're releasing like Biggie, all that type of stuff. You know. And, you know, so it's a very, very good day for hip-hop. You know, I'm going to release the lecture this week of my friend TC Islam that came here fleeing another gang, fleeing the Zulu Nation. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, the Zulu Nation would swear up and down they're not a gang. It's just a peaceful hip-hop thing. But, you know, Africa Bambaataa was definitely a known gang member. And I'm not just talking about the Black Spade days. I'm talking about the Zulu Nation, you know, atrocities against children and all that type of stuff. So my friend TC Islam fled to Atlanta to try to escape the gang threats and violence, because Bambaataa's Zulu Nation gang was threatening him. You know what I'm saying? Threatening his life. He came to Atlanta and he was killed. So I'm going to release that lecture this week. I had, you know, done it online, but it's not on YouTube. But I'll release, you know, that memorial to him, and shout out to his daughter. You know what I'm saying? Hip Step is always gonna live, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, all the positive rappers, you know, are being taken out too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, for black male rappers, I don't even tell people I do music or anything like that, you know, because here in Atlanta, it's like people are gonna rob you if you try to collaborate with somebody. You know, you don't know who you're working with. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't get robbed, you know? That's why I don't even do music videos for cats that you know, I don't know out here in Atlanta, because everybody's robbing people. It's lawlessness. And Jay-Z and Meek Mill are trying to promote the lawlessness. They're trying to, you know, promote like, hey, they should have like some type of Vatican type of immunity where if you confess on your track, you can't be you know, tried by that. But I think that somebody says, somebody should be able to be tried for that, you know, because you can't just say, oh, it's, you know, because then anybody could just say real stuff they did and they wouldn't be able to ever use it. And that's just some, like, you know, anarchist type of stuff. And, you know, and I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you should be against Popo and stuff like that. It's like, nah, you know, and stuff like this where people are getting hurt and murdered and trafficked, you know what I'm saying? Bloods, they're pimping sisters, you know what I'm saying? And they say it on the radio. We got millionaires like Drake, you know, teaching them about Xan and drugs, and you know, and telling Project Sisters, I'm gonna send you home, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, trying to, you know, disrespect black women on every single radio station across the country. So all that stuff has got to end. All that stuff, and this is the beginning of it. And, you know, I've been predicting it because it's like, it's the elephant in the room. It's like we got hysteria going on. You know, the radio stations are inciting violence in the black community. Right now, you know, there's probably something popping off with somebody that's got a mixtape. You know what I'm saying? Whoever those cops are gonna go see, that person probably has a mixtape. You know what I'm saying? You know, in the 90s, I used to think like, oh, you know, it's all about the parents, but no, the parents can't stop trillions of dollars being funded into commercials and all these rappers, you know. And so the next step is the radio stations, YouTube, and the labels signing these people. It should be illegal for a label to sign a known gang member. Now, you know, I'm not against the sound of gangster rap. You know, like I think people should be able to do gangster rap, but it should be more at, you know, like after like 10 o'clock or something like that. It shouldn't be in the middle of the daytime, people talking about Dracos, just like with HBO and how they switch, you know, in the middle of the night, they stop playing the racy stuff and then they get into the kids programming in the morning. But in urban radio all across the country, you know, all day long, they're playing stuff that's extremely lewd, like WAP, you know, like Meg Thee Stallion stuff, all that stuff that's very, very lewd. And you know, in the middle of the day, and the gangster stuff in the middle of the day. So all that stuff really needs to be stopped, number one. But also the labels need to be stopped from signing these people. You know, like anything that's targeting a group of people with, you know, extreme, you know, caricatures that could ruin their community. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you know, be a super promiscuous, you know, AIDS spreader. And here in Atlanta, AIDS is, you know, a number one. It's super high in the country. It's the number one thing here. You know, AIDS is really big in Atlanta. You know, it's one of the cities that has the worst AIDS cases. And the rappers are, you know, promoting that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? You hear about the Atlanta orgies and stuff like that. And in raising a child here in Atlanta, it's like we have to teach them, like, hey, these you know, these women eventually might try to rob you, or, you know, have their homies, you know, set you up. I'll do a whole lecture how I was robbed by a female gang in Williamsburg. You know what I'm saying? The only time I ever been robbed was by a female gang in Williamsburg. But, you know, I'll do a whole lecture on that. But in raising a son here in Atlanta, it's a crazy thing that you have to deal with stuff like that and teach them about, like, hey, this person could try to rob you. This is what you should do if they try to rob you. If they pull out a gun, you should do this. If something this happens, you should do this. Oh, a home invasion, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's just too much. And, you know, so... I want to give a shout out to those, you know, cops that bag, you know, a Young Thug. You know, people act like, you know, they want to get the black community to be against the cops, but it's like, yo, the word sheriff comes from, you know, Sharif. You know what I'm saying? That's you know, that's black language. That's Arabic. You know, we invented law. You know what I'm saying? We invented justice. We invented jails. We invented all these things before, you know, if you want to go back 65,000 years before, you know, other haplogroups and all that stuff existed. It's like, you know, we were always bringing in justice, and that's what the civil rights movement has always been, is bringing in justice and all that stuff. So, you know, justice needs to be brought into hip hop, because hip hop right now, it's a lot of anarchy going on, and they're literally spreading anarchies, you know, in the black community. And I don't know if Nature Boy's in this same jail too. You know, it's like, you know, Nature Boy was starting to call himself a rapper to the police in Atlanta, and they would just leave him alone. Like, yeah, we're doing rap videos here. And the Atlanta police was like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. But now they're really cracking down, and that's a good thing, you know. But that's what I'm saying. You got Cardi B, you got, you know, Nicki, you got, you know, 21 Savage's brother just got killed. Remember, 21 Savage has a knife on his forehead, and his brother was just stabbed with a knife. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to spread the bloods into the UK and tell the UK, like, oh, this is this drill music. But it's not even about the music, because UK already invented drill music. The grime, Wiley, shout out to Wiley. You know, I did this festival. It was me, Wiley, Aphex. I played at the same time as Aphex. I'll do another lecture on that, about playing at the same exact time as Aphex Twin. That was, you know, a crazy experience. But, you know, here at TTM Academy, you know, we've constantly been talking about ending the gang violence and arresting the real gangs out there, you know, because there's gangster rap, but then there's real gangster rap. And those are two separate things, you know. And I'm not saying gangster rap should be eliminated. It's like, yeah, if people are, you know, just like with Wu-Tang, you should be able to use words in aggressive ways and things like that. And, you know, let's say you take somebody like Lil B, people know he's not in a gang, but he's just using words, you know, in a very colorful way, you know what I'm saying? And saying extreme things, more like, you know, an artist, you know what I'm saying? He's not, you know, making real threats at people, or, you know, he's just kind of making fun of all of that, you know what I'm saying, in kind of a psychedelic kind of way, you know what I'm saying? So, but people like, you know, Young Thug, who are influenced by him as well, you know, because they're influenced by Little B, even Nature Boy, who's probably in here too, is influenced by Little B, because Little B was called Bass God, and Nature Boy started calling himself 3 God now, and even people just started calling themselves something God. There was You God, at the beginning, early stuff like that, but it's just too much, and things are definitely changing quickly. Things can happen overnight, just like a judge can just make a decision and say that all this stuff shouldn't be allowed on the radio. You can't have lewd stuff, talking about orgies on the radio. You know what I'm saying? And then you hear about the real orgies in Atlanta, and then you see the AIDS rate in Atlanta, and then I'm like, we were watching Atlanta yesterday with my family, and all the commercials were AIDS commercials. There was all AIDS. Shout out to Glover, because he was inspired by Crunk Tesla when he made Childish Gambino. You know what I'm saying? Because we were part of a whole MySpace generation, but yeah, so we were watching Atlanta, and yeah, all the commercials were AIDS pill commercials. I was like, wow, that's deep. You know what I'm saying? The most recent episode of Atlanta, but yeah, so I believe Gunna hasn't gotten arrested yet, but Young Thug is definitely in here now. You know what I'm saying? Nature Boy, he just had his hearing like last week and got his hearing denied. You know what I'm saying? He's kidnapping, all that type of stuff. And then you see like Rick Ross. Remember, Rick Ross just got arrested for trafficking, and you see him on cooking shows with Martha Stewart, and it's just a big joke in Hollywood to have like black murderers teaching the people and acting like they're the positive people, and getting the feminist awards like Meg Thee Stallion. It's like nobody's talking about Sao Rock, but she's not getting an award of like Feminist of the Year. They're like, oh, Meg Thee Stallion, doing extreme porno rap is gets this award or whatever. It's just like everything is kind of topsy-turvy, where like I was saying before, my homie TC Islam is murdered, who's a positive jungle rapper, you know what I'm saying? But all these other rappers are still alive, a lot of them, and they're causing havoc, and the radio stations they're not stopping it. The organizations in the 80s came together to create parental advisory, but we're in a new generation now, and we're in a whole new generation now, so things have changed a lot, and everything needs to be updated, and the feds need to be involved, because it's organized crime that's involved in hip-hop, since it's such a big industry. So I'm gonna go through the whole 88-page complaint, I believe. I don't know if it's a complaint or if it's something else, but it's a whole 88-page document. We're going to be going over that. Not right now. That's going to be in another video, a video at the desktop. But yeah, so to wrap things up, I just want to talk about the slime stuff and the grooming of the children. So everybody knows that there's slime centers all around the country, right? There's slime centers where kids can go and they play with slime. Kids have been into slime for the past decade. It's been a thing with kids. So he named his game Slime Gang, and he wears little girls' dresses. So this, Young Thug that's locked up in here is, not only a mafia don, he's also a mafia don wearing 7-year-old girl dresses. He was like, yeah, I was just in the 7-year-old girl section. I just saw this dress that was hot, so I just wanted to wear it. You know what I'm saying? Remember the guy that just attacked Dave Chappelle? People don't realize that, all types of communities can be, committing crimes. You know what I'm saying? And, peace. You know what I'm saying? And so all the crime has to end that can be stopped. Obviously there's always going to be like crimes of passion and stuff like that, but most of the crimes here in Atlanta aren't just like, some crime of passion. It's usually like gang stuff or somebody, you know what I'm saying? So I believe last year, the number one cause for death, maybe it was 2020, but it was either 2020 or 2021 in America. The number one cause of death of children is gunshots. So that's like, yo, that's not happening in Sweden. That's not happening in Japan. Obviously, they're not strapped like that out there, you know what I'm saying? But, what I feel is what's going to happen is the rest of the world is going to become more like America, and they're going to all eventually get strapped, but most people aren't even ready for that yet, you know what I'm saying? But so I'm not against people being strapped. I'm against the organized crime stuff, you know what I'm saying? And just like with the Italians, they got pushed out of most industries. The same thing can happen with the Bloods and the Crips. They can be pushed out of all these entertainment industries, like Whack 100. Everybody's like deifying Whack 100 like he's some like new hip hop personality, like he's the new Biz Markie or something. But it's like, nah, man, that's not culture. Gangs aren't part of black culture, but they're trying to make it like it's part of black culture. You know, adding it to the Will Smith, you know, reboot, all that type of stuff. They're trying to make, you know, gangs like it's normal. They're trying to normalize gang, normalize harlotry, you know, with the WAP stuff, you know, and you know, all that stuff's gotta end. You know what I'm saying? Because it's targeted at specifically at the black community. Because if you turn on to Mexican radio, it's peaceful love songs, tejanos, accordion, synthesizer accordion solos. You know what I'm saying? It's dope music. It's progressive progressions. It's not just a loop. You know, and I'm not against loop trap, but why can't we have, you know, progressive trap? There's people making that stuff, but they don't, you know, they're trying to keep people in a certain plane. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to keep, you know, the music's starting to get stagnant now. You know, I'm a big trap fan, drill fan, you know, but the music's getting stagnant, and, you know, because it's all gang stuff now. And most of these gang cats aren't very educated, and they're signing these uneducated cats because they know they're going to go back in jail, and they're going to recoup all their lawyer fees, or the guy's going to get murdered, and they're going to get all the lawyers get all the money back. So all that stuff, you know, needs to end. You know, they say, you know, in the early 90s, you know, people, there was a meeting about, you know, creating a school to prison pipeline through rap, you know, and, you know, that was a couple years after that. They say Kwame was there. You know, that's what Asir was telling me. They say Kwame was there at that meeting, and he was like, nah, I'm not part of this. I'm not trying to, you know, push the game into some, you know, gangster rap, you know, so we can get kids into prison type of stuff, you know. You know, it's a similar thing. Some people told my mom, like, hey, you want to export some oil barrels to toxic oil barrels to Africa? You know, people do get into businesses that, you know, hurt other people's lives. So it's a very, very sad thing, you know, with all the stuff that's going on, and this mafia kind of control of the radio. So we're gonna contact the radio stations as well, you know, different organizations to really, you know, stop the violence, because, you know, for us positive rappers, you know, shout out to the Soul Food Cypher in Atlanta, you know, shout out to Zano Bathroom and the whole Soul Food Cypher, you know, here in Atlanta, you know, there's positive rap, but you don't hear about it because the media is only signing the murderers. You know, we got literal murder people that literally shot up our cultural institution, the Varsity. Oh, it's piling out here. Our cultural institution, the Varsity, you know, that they literally shot it up, and they're literally on the radio every day. You know, you don't hear Timothy McVeigh on the radio. You don't hear El Chapo on the radio. You don't hear, you know what I'm saying, like that. But YNW Melly was a school shooter before he got signed. Right, he was a school shooter before he got signed. He killed a cop. He killed his friend. That was, you know what I'm saying? Try to cover it up. You know, it's too much. And me, like I was saying before, me having 3 cousins dead, you know, I just like, yo, I had enough. You know, so we're gonna get the GoFundMe for my cousin, Private Marcus Wanzo, that was found face down in 3-foot water, even though he was, you know, trained in swamps and, you know, was trained in Afghanistan, and, you know, was a perfect swimmer. You know what I'm saying? You know, he knew how to swim, so he didn't drown in the 3 feet of water. You know what I'm saying? 2 feet of water, you know, and he didn't come from a different part of the river because he had stuff that was on the bank, you know. So, you know, we're going to open the investigation for that. But, you know, also on another note, they need to open the investigation for Kevin Samuels. Anytime somebody finds somebody dead and it's a one-night stand, I think it should be investigated. Just like you saw that Kevin Hart movie and all that stuff, they make it like it's a joke. You know, they try to, you know, put these ideas, you know, of, you know, like whatever, it's a joke. But you see brothers were vying for those 2 sisters that were found, you know, after they had like swirl dates, they were found, you know, dead. And, you know, we don't know if they were John's or it was a boyfriend, you know, we don't know who they were, but they found them dead, and the police never investigated it. You know, just like with my cousin, the police never investigated it as a murder. So we're going to hire a private detective. You know what I'm saying? I believe in the law, and I believe, you know, justice can be served. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the law and positivity go to hand. Yeah, the law is a double-edged sword. It can be used for negatives, but, you know, the law can also be used for positivity and restoring peace. And that's what's happening today. Atlanta's a little bit more peaceful today, a little bit more, but we still got Cardi B. We still got, you know, a lot of other blood syndicates that, you know, literally say that they're part of Bloods. Because remember, when people were saying, oh, she was in the same blood as 6ix9ine, she was like, no, I'm a different blood than 6ix9ine, but she admitted that she was a blood. So it's just craziness, you know. what's interesting is the judge didn't even take that into account in the Tasha K case, you know. So I guess we're out, you know. So peace, everybody, you know. We'll give y'all updates, and you know, to all the Nature Boy people and all the you know, people that say reflection, all that stuff. You know, he is on some stuff. And just like, you know, Nefertiti, who stabbed her mother, Atlanta News isn't even covering that. The fact that one of his followers, even when the DA was just, you know, getting his hearing denied, Nature Boy's hearing was just denied, she didn't even mention the stabbing of one of his followers stabbing his mom, because, you know, part of his doctrine is to go against your parents, you know, and that's kind of what the radio station is doing too. It's like hate your parents, you know, just like Pharrell, cheat on your man, girl. That's how you get a his ed. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to, you know, put these ideas into your head, even like Pusha, you know, having the #1 album and it being a drug album. They're trying to just push this drug stuff. So, you know, all the diplomats, all those Bloods, they all need to go to jail. All the gangs, they need to all go to jail. So yeah, peace. So this is it. This is where Young Thug is in jail. Here's a closer up view of the jail. That building in the back, that's where Young Thug is. Young Thug's in this building in the back. Let's see if we can zoom in. Let's go over here. So next we're gonna go over the actual. In the studio, we're gonna go over the complaint, the police report, the full 88 pages.
Turn left into the parking lot.
That'll be part 2 of the video. So yep, that's it right there. That's where Young Thug is. And yeah, they need to be arrested. You know, they need to all be locked up, all the gang members. You know, we've been saying it, and now it's actually happening. We predicted all this. Nature Boy too. You know what I'm saying? They're all getting locked up. All these crazy people spreading, you know, madness in the black communities. You know, they're finally getting locked up. But we need to extend that into the, you know, like I was saying, into the record labels and the radio and YouTube as well. You know, right?
Check 1 2 check 1 2 check 1 2.
Where you at?
Hey, how y'all doing? I am sitting in front of my computers right now. Was trying to research and see what was the latest. You at
We all here. Everyone's here. Everyone say hi to Maria.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh my God, you're for real. Hey guys. Mother's Day.
Well, I did.
Okay, good deal. So
You're live. The DA's listening to you right now. I'm just kidding. Maria.
First of all, I want to say good afternoon to you all. Thank you all for coming out. Want to acknowledge the DA and Fulton County Sheriff. We're here today to speak on the arrest of Jeffrey Williams that in collaboration with Fulton County DA's office and the Fulton County Sheriff on yesterday. This collaboration is representative of the partnership with the Atlanta Police Department and the DA's a on our aggressiveness in going after gang members. The mayor as well as the DA gave a interview on last week expressing their concerns about what we were seeing in our city and how we would go after any offender. And at the direction of the DA taking the lead on us yesterday, making sure that we were able to get one of our top offenders off of the street. In partnership with them, utilizing our tactical teams, we were able to go out to the individual's location and arrest him without any significant consequences to him or any other parties at the house. And so with that, I'll turn it over to the DA.
Thank you, Chief Bryant. Today I'm joined by the Atlanta Police Chief, Chief Rodney Bryant, as well as my sheriff and our sheriff, Sheriff Patrick Labatt. We are here today about a grand jury indictment that was returned that included not just Jeffrey Williams, which is of some notoriety and media attention, but about 28 defendants that operated within our community between the time period of 2012 and 2022. It is our allegation that they operated as a criminal street gang and commenced to do havoc in our community. That havoc includes crimes of violence, crimes of thefts, crimes involving drugs. I've made no secret about it, nor any apology, that as the District Attorney of Fulton County, my #1 focus is targeting gangs. And there's a reason for that. They are committing conservatively 75 to 80% of all of the violent crime that we are seeing within our community. And so they have to be rooted out of our community. I said just a week or two ago, it does not matter what your notoriety is, what your fame is. If you come to Fulton County, Georgia, and you commit crimes, and certainly if those crimes are in furtherance of a street gang, that you are going to become a target and a focus of this district attorney's office, and we are going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. I agree with Chief Bryant. What you see yesterday and what you will see in the upcoming months and years is the result of a lot of hard work by both the Atlanta Police Department and this office. We are proud to bring forth this indictment and hopefully to bring justice to a lot of the community who was victimized through the course you see in this indictment. But more importantly, the most important thing that we are here to do is to keep this community safe, and we believe removing these 28 defendants will keep Fulton County safer. Yes, sir.
The indictment's got Young Thug and a bunch of other rappers. There was one name I was actually expecting to see there that I didn't, and that's Jack Harlow. Can you speak to that?
What I'll tell you is that as large as this indictment is, I told my team that let's not be sexy, now let's not overreach, let's be conservative in our approach, which is always the approach that I take. And in taking that approach, 28 defendants were indicted, and they were indicted for the crimes that I believe were appropriate for this RICO indictment. And so I won't speak to any person that is not named.
These are serious, significant charges. I would imagine you're going to see some pretty serious sentencing here. I know it's early, but can you talk a little bit about the type of sentences they might be facing?
Well, we'll ask on the different charges for the maximum penalties, and there's obviously many people that are looking at life under this indictment. You're absolutely right. These are serious times. They're serious allegations, and it is my opinion that violence in our community deserves maximum penalties.
In a recent interview, you said in the coming weeks and months to expect indictments, RICO charges, gang charges. We see that with fear, but this is only focused on the YSL gang. At that time, you used plural indictments. Should we expect more indictments against singular gangs in the coming weeks and months? Is that what you were meaning with that quote?
Yeah, and if you're already aware, we dropped an indictment not that long ago against YFN. It is certainly a tool that I believe in, which is using RICO. I believe the reason that I believe in it as a tool is it allows juries and the communities to see the complete picture of a crime so they can truly be educated and have facts to weigh when they're making decisions. And so if you're asking, should you expect to see other RICO indictments against other street gang organizations? Absolutely.
And two questions specific to YSL. With the 20-some people arrested here or named, how big is this gang? Is that a good portion of the gang you're operating in Atlanta, and how long were you investigating them?
If you look at the indictment, the crimes that are alleged within it go all the way back from 2012 to 2022. I wouldn't say that it contains every act of crime that YSL committed. It is a significant gang that operates here in Atlanta, Georgia, and not every member became a defendant within this indictment, but certainly a significant amount did, and certainly some of the leadership, which is what's most important. We're not going to just target the children that are running out at the direction of leaders and not target leaders.
Madam DA, how much? Go ahead, Michael. Sure. Yeah. Okay. How much did social media, music play a role in bringing this indictment?
Social media is a wonderful tool for prosecutors in every indictment we bring nowadays.
And let's talk about, obviously, YSL. There are the territories that Cleveland Avenue, it's no secret. We've seen a ton of violence. Innocent bystanders get hit. So you guys believe that by getting them off the streets, that people in that neighborhood who are living in fear can actually have some peace now?
I believe that people in that neighborhood and at every corner of Fulton County deserve to be safe, even if it is financially lower, socially, economically. You know, I don't think that part of the community should be left behind. Me and the mayor and the police chief have talked about the fact that Cleveland in our community is referred to as Bleveland, that it is somewhere where just violence occurs, where they're marking up territory, it's blood territory. It's horrible. And you're absolutely right. That community deserves to be safe, and we are hoping that this helps to keep them safe.
Especially with YSL Lucci being a target as that came out recently?
Well, I won't step outside of my lane. I am the district attorney of Fulton County. I am not the sheriff. I have great confidence in the sheriff. He knew that this was coming as a law enforcement partner, and I believe that he is well prepared, but you'd have to speak to him to make sure that everyone within his facility is safe.
This indictment names a few, it's not just social media posts, but songs that have been released by Young Thug and others, where those people's lyrics have evidence supporting the RICO conspiracy. And I'd like you to speak to the First Amendment issues that obviously raises.
This issue's been ruled on by the courts. I knew that question was coming. I believe in the First Amendment. It's one of our most precious rights. However, the First Amendment does not protect people from prosecutors using it as evidence if it is such. In this case, we put it as overt and predicate acts within the RICO count because we believe that's exactly what it is.
Let's allow Sheriff Labatt to answer.
I have one more from Ms. Willis. What's the last time you prosecuted a RICO case? Was that the APS case?
This office? No, since I've been here as the district attorney, I think we've indicted probably 4 or 5 RICOs at this point. So it's a tool I use.
First of all, good afternoon. I believe both Madam DA and Chief Bryant are really raising the level of consciousness in what we're doing within Fulton County, and certainly they deserve our appreciation. With respect to the specific question as to safety and so many people being brought in, we are housing them accordingly to include other facilities. So I encourage everyone to really download the Sheriff's app if you want to know specifically where individuals are, and you'll be accommodated accordingly.
Sheriff Labatt, like as I've done through the indictment, there was an element of it where they were talking about Montavious Greer communicating with an inmate, where the inmate had a cell phone that was contraband, but it was clear from the indictment that you had been, or that all of you had been monitoring that conversation. Like, it leads me to ask a question you're probably not going to answer. Was that cell phone deliberately given to an inmate so that those conversations could be monitored?
So I did have an opportunity to read your editorial that you posted in the Buckhead blog or whatever it was from that perspective. And so you're right, I'm not going to answer that. So, appreciate it. We'll leave that to Madam DA.
Can you tell us of the 28 who were indicted, how many have been arrested, how many are large, how many are already in custody?
You know, and I do not have that exact number. I can tell you approximately 10 were already in custody. I believe as of last night, we had arrested at least 3 as of last night. I expect to see more arrests today and in the upcoming weeks, but I'm realistic. It's probably going to take the next 2 weeks to get everyone in custody.
There's been some discrepancies about where Gunn is. Maybe this is better for the sheriff. Where he's being, is he in custody?
Short answer, Michael, he's not in custody.
Okay. I mean, has there been arrangements for him to surrender, or is he considered a fugitive right now?
Well, we're making arrangements as much as he had representatives call me last night directly. So we'll muddle through that piece and let you know. And again, download the Sheriff's app. Make sure.
Sheriff, one more question.
Yes, sir.
Have you had to take any special precautionary measures at the jail in light of high profile? I mean, you mentioned people being housed differently, but just safety for your corrections officers, and what kind of, are you able to reveal some of the things you've had to do in light of?
And that's a great question, and I appreciate you taking the time to come visit us a couple of weeks ago. To that extent, based on some of the things that we found, we've already begun new procedures. And so the opportunity for us to maintain safety is paramount. Thank you.
Follow up on Michael's question with the indictment and names being out there now. Are any of the individuals considered fugitives? Is there a worry that some of them are on the run now because they know that they're indicted?
In this business, I'm certain that there will be some people that won't volunteer to come into custody. There is no concern that somebody will escape being arrested.
One last question, I'm sorry. How significant was the arrest of Christian Eppinger with regard to the timeline of this indictment? Like, I had been looking at it where that arrest set off this 90-day clock, but I'm reasonably certain you were looking at YSL before all of this. Did that create a sort of a time situation where you wanted to get this done?
No. There was long ago a time-sensitive importance or significance to this particular case. I was a prosecutor, as you know, for 16 years, 4 months, and 4 days in this office. The murder of Donovan Thomas in 2015 created violence like Atlanta has never seen. It was a goal of my predecessor and any person or prosecutor in this office to make sure that that family received justice, because everyone is entitled to justice. It was a commitment I made from the first day I walked into this office. Very shortly after me becoming the DA, I sat down with Mr. Thomas's mother, and I made her a promise that her son was as valuable as any other person within our community, and that I would put resources on this case, and that I would do everything I could to make sure that her son had justice. And yesterday was a proud day for me.
Was there any connection between the killing of Young Thug's children's mother and this gang?
I don't believe any.
Okay.
Thank you.
But yeah, this graffiti is ill because it says music is more than killing your ops. But yeah, that's real. Music is more than killing your ops. You know, things are changing in Atlanta, But Young Thug just got taken out. The whole slime gang's gone. Whole YSL is taken down at once, 30 people.